Sutam Devam Kamsacharuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. O thou son of Vasudeva, the bliss of Mother Devaki, the destroyer of the demonic forces of Kamsa and Chanura. To thee, O Krishna, as Guru and God, we salute. Chapter 8, verse 20. We've subtitled it The Supreme Being, because these three verses, the 20th, 21st, and 22nd, describe that supreme nature of reality. But distinct and different from that imperceptible is the eternal imperceptible reality, who does not get destroyed when all the created things get destroyed. Now, we had seen in the preceding verses, in the lifespan of Brahma, which is immense, you can say, periods of time. And there's in the immensity of this creation and the complexity also, it's unbelievable that so many things are happening in this creation. And we have also seen that the creator and creation are the obverse and the reverse of the same thing. You cannot have creation and a creator as separate and distinct. You've got to be together. And these massive cycles of time, running to millions and millions and millions of years, are likened to the day and the night. The day, that is, when all beings are impelled into creation. And night of Brahma is when all these beings, once again, they merge into that unmanifest. So these verses, preceding verses, had conveyed to us that there is something called perceptible vyakta, the tangible, the felt, that which is revealed to the mind. And there's another order of reality called avyakta, that is not revealed, not tangible. It's not discernible to the mind. And that all beings emerge from that imperceptible. They become perceptible and again merge in that imperceptible. That is what is called the Creator's day and night. It's one massive cycle of creation. And as we have seen, 365 days of the year, he keeps on waking up and creating through his knowledge and through his own self, this universe. And the Brahma, the creator, lives for 120 years. And then that reality gives way to the next. Another one comes and takes his place. So this creation has become, it's an eternal. When did it begin? when you have a cyclic nature of creation, you cannot say when did it begin. It is always on. It is only manifested and non-manifested. And now in this verse comes a kind of a revelation that there is something even greater than this whole processes of creation. Now imagine, most of the religions stop here. They just can't take that leap beyond. Creator, creation, all these things, created all these worlds, the subtle and the gross and everything. Vedanta will say, at however long this time, you can call it eternal, you can call it infinite, you can call it whatever you want. It is still within time. And that which is within time has to be within space, and then the laws of causation take over. So here the Lord says, but distinct and different from that imperceptible. The first imperceptible is the eternal imperceptible reality. So there is another higher order of reality which does not get destroyed when all created things get destroyed. In Vedanta, there is no absolute destruction. There is a kind of a change from one state to another. It's always, never. There's destruction, there's finish, there's a finality to everything. No. Everything is kind of recycled. This whole thing is recycled. So, in the sense of it changes the state. So, which does not get changed when all the created things get dissolved. So there's a dissolving and a resolving. There's a merging and then an emerging. There's a manifestation and a non-manifestation. Even beyond this, in the immensity of space and time and creation and everything, and not only that, in the immensity of multiple creations, we must not think that this is my backyard is the only good thing in LA. No. Yeah, nothing like my backyard. But then you say, oh, nothing like the other guy's backyard. But then that guy is a cheat. I'm good. So everybody thinks that their creation is eternal. Even sometimes Brahma, in some of the mythological stories, he thinks that my creation is the only creation and is the best creation. I am the boss here. And then in all these stories found that he is made to meet the various Brahmas, the creators from different cycles, from the multiverses. They all coming and he gets, oh my God, I thought this was the only creation. Yeah. And I'm the boss. Yeah. Big thing for you. So he gets this creation infinite. Even beyond these multiple, you can say, multiverses with its long, immense spans of creation and time and space, it's mind-boggling. The brain just can't conceptualize the numbers and the distances involved. It's just impossible. Like, it's just impossible for us to conceptualize even this creation here. This creation itself is very... So what comes through my senses about this creation is kind of a small, limited thing. That also, the sense of self that is created by all these sensations itself is a kind of illusion. So we are living in a very, very limited world, and we think that this is the only thing that is real. But the Lord says here that even beyond this there is a mighty imperceptible. He's saying the eternal imperceptible reality. Parastasmat tu bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha yassa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu navinashyati. That is there always. And the whole act of creation and preservation and destruction of all the multiverses happen in this reality. Yeah. So it is the underlying, it is the supreme reality, and there's nothing higher than that. So that's why you say, but distinct and different from that imperceptible reality, the first one, avyakta, is the eternal imperceptible reality. Parastasmatu bhavo anyo, the other. How? Is there a limit? Even Sri Ramakrishna says, saying to say iti, that is to say God is only so much, is wrong. Can never limit God. God should not be limited. And all our ideas of God are so limited, so distorted, so caricatured. And that's why everybody makes a joke out of the religious conceptions, religious figures, and they call it idolatry. Nothing but a bunch of kind of rituals and songs and dances, and they call this reality. Yeah. You blow a little through your nose, you meditate a little, oh yeah, I am now going to merge in the reality. Really? Be careful. So it's like I said, the brain wasn't designed, the body wasn't designed, this mind wasn't designed to understand the extent. So the Lord gives us an inkling of the vastness of this reality. And where is it? Is it there somewhere outside? Sorry. And that's what Vedanta rails against, this kind of throwing the reality outside you will not do. It is there within each and every one. Everything lives, dies in this reality, like bubbles emerging out from the ocean and again dissolving the ocean. So this is what is called the supreme reality. Wow, the supreme being. Yeah. So Sri Ramakrishna says, if I can get drunk with a bottle of wine, why do I need to bother about how much wine is there in the tavern? So, get drunk with the wine of divine love. He also says, when you go to meet a rich man, you might not know how wealthy that person is. And those guys at that gate, it's a gated community. They won't let you in. And you don't have the password, you come like ragged. What's this guy? But somehow, if you push your way through, even climbing the wall, Sri Ramakrishna says, get inside, meet that rich person, that person will tell you what things he has. Those guys, they will not tell you. Nobody can tell you exactly. So somehow, get the vision of your personal God, and you will understand the extent of God's majesty. That's why the Upanishads say, Tas natasya pratimasti. There is no likeness, there is no kind of resemblance. Tasya mahad yashaha, tasya nama. Its name is great glory. So indirectly, we have been kind of told, okay, this is what it is. No. Great glory and this and that. And so that reality is there within each and every one. It can't be otherwise. So that great reality. At the same time, the body and the mind are under the laws of that first perceptible and imperceptible realities. They are cyclic in nature, they go round and round and round and round and round. Higher than that, cyclical nature is that Atman. So your Atman is a part of that, not part, the whole of that. You are in touch with that. Because you have identified yourself with your body and with your mind, you are now in the act of participating in creation. You're doing this. Every time you look at the world, you're trying to create something. Some nonsense in your head or some nonsense outside. So, yeah, every time you look, you're doing some creation business. Yeah, I'm going to eat one whole box of cookies. Yeah, you're creating all those dreams. Once you come out of it, I don't need anything. I am the reality. The next verse is, one who has been mentioned as the imperceptible, the immutable, they call him the supreme goal. That is the supreme abode of mind, reaching which they do not return. Now this is a tremendous fact. Once you can get in touch with that reality, you don't need to come back over and over again in these cycles of creation. Your own cycle of creation and also Brahma's cycle of creation, the great Hiranyagarbha, manifesting, creation, non-manifesting, dissolution. So everything is cyclic, cyclic. It's going from the lowest to the highest. Everything moving around in circles, like circles and circles. And if you look closely, there is another circle within that. Oh, and then we look deeper, and there's another circle in that. And you look and say, oh my God, there's another circle. Okay, I'm fed up with all this small nano. And now there's something called a femto also, even smaller than the nano. So let's go for the vast and vast, and let's take your telescopes and radio telescopes and let's go for the vast. And the vast and vast, and you see the whole thing again cyclic. Oh my God, there's another cyclical nature within the cyclical nature, and the whole thing is moving. I remember when we were young, we used to see those television, I can say, documentaries on the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, and they should show a huge wheel revolving slowly, that huge wheel of time. That wheel of time is a wheel of creation, moving slowly. And we used to, oh my God. I don't know where we are. So, come out from that into freedom. You are in touch with that reality, and then saying, that is the supreme abode of mind, reaching which they, that is they who realize, do not return. Return where? To this wheel. To this wheel of creation. Wheels within the wheels, within the wheels, within the wheels, within the wheels. Avyaktokshara ityukta stamaho paramam gatim Yam prapya na nivartante tadham paramam mama. This second line is also repeated in the 15th chapter. Yam prapya, those who attain that, na nivartante, do not return. Because return from where? From that abode of mine. Now, abode of mine. What's that abode? Is the Lord sitting in an abode? No. It means it is Him. The commentator says, I myself am the supreme abode. That is. So it's like giving the example of, there was a demon and many demons, and there were these gods, and they were quarreling against each other, and then they kind of decided to, let's have a kind of a compromise, because they heard that there is nectar, there's ambrosia, if you get by churning this ocean, and they are the gods on one side and the demons on one side, they were churning and churning and churning, and they were all good. And many things came out, and then the poison came out, and Shiva drinks the poison. And said, finally, after all the thousands and thousands years of churning, that real ambrosia, that nectar, that thing that gives you immortality emerges out. So the gods winked at each other. We will trick these guys. They're just dumb and stupid guys. So they were saying, no. We want it first. And the gods are saying, we will want it first. So Vishnu comes with the form, Mohini, and he can, don't worry, I'll distribute this to everybody. There's plenty of stuff. So Vishnu, in the form of Mohini, a beautiful woman, and the demons are all kind of struck with her beauty. And she keeps on distributing that ambrosia first to the gods. They're saying there's plenty of it. Just stand in queue. And one demon understood, hey, the guy is tricking us. So he changes his form, makes himself into a god and stands in the queue. And then, and he also gets a little of he becomes immortal. And then after the gods have been finished, the pot of ambrosia is all over, everything is over. And these guys, they got so disgusted with this trick played on them, the demons. But the one demon got that ambrosia. So he's become an immortal. So Vishnu, he discovered, and he threw his discus, and he cut the head of that demon turned god. Okay. So that is called the head of Rahu. The head became Rahu, and the body became Ketu. It's one, but cut into two. So it's a very major factor in Indian astrology and astronomy also. If anybody has the demon, the Rahu Ketu in that horoscope, the chart is done for. Right? So when you say the head of Rahu, it means the whole of that demon with the Ketu also. So it's like that. So when the Lord says that they attain my abode, it means they attain me. It's the same as saying, attain me, and attaining my abode is the same. Okay. So this is what the whole thing. So there you have that supreme reality which is already imperceptible. Imperceptible, yes, to the ordinary mind, to the senses. But it is perceptible, realizable to the mind that has become purified through the fire of yoga. Not just yoga. The next verse will talk about one-pointed devotion. So that is the way to attain that. So here is saying, one who has been mentioned as imperceptible to the ordinary mind, to the ordinary sciences, but not to the science of yoga. Those who take that yogic path, they can perceive that imperceptible. They also call it immutable. It is not subject to any change. Everything else is subject to change. They call that the supreme goal. That is the supreme abode of mind. The Lord himself said, this is me. And reaching that, those who reach there will not return. So the 22nd is, O son of Pritha, that is Arjuna, that supreme person in whom are included all the created things and by whom all this is pervaded is reached through one-pointed devotion. Here it is. This is not only talking about the reality, the highest reality, but also how do you attain it? Otherwise, there's something called, there's something called the Mount Everest, the highest peak. Oh, really? Okay. Simply saying that will not do any good to you. They also tell you that there is a Mount Everest, and this is how you need to attain it. You can attain this. Otherwise, the scriptures will be useless. So many scriptures are saying, we don't know. But there is something called the grace of God. Don't worry, you'll get the whole thing up. This is the difference between the Vedanta scriptures and other scriptures. You better go and struggle it out first. Sweat it out. So, now this is the Mariana Trench, the deepest part there. Get down. But then they'll give you a big submersible also. Yeah, you can go down there. Go down there. Take that risk. So, it's not just declaring, this is the supreme reality. Now this is, how do you attain that supreme reality? It is reached through one-pointed devotion. This is what it is. Devotion? Yes, because the devotion, that love, makes the mind one-pointed. And everything which is one-pointed, concentrated, brings you knowledge. If you concentrate on one particular thing, give it time, you can understand it. The only problem is we don't give enough time or enough mind to this. We just skip over. And that's why we think it's just difficult. Oh, it's difficult. No. Now, if you're hell-bent on attaining this reality, in this life you can do it. But what about the others? You look after yourself. Otherwise you will be pulled out and pulled in by these great waves of creation and destruction. Do you want that? No. Is it something new? No, you've been doing it all through. You are completely under the impulsion of that manifest and non-manifest nature. You have no say in the matter. Absolutely. You think people say, there's something called a free will. How much free it is? Is it free? Can you buy one and get another one free? No, sorry. What is this free will and what is this kind of business that we hear? Oh, you're just simply pushed out and pulled in. I heard that in Tokyo, when crowded trains, there are these guards whose job is to just push the passengers inside. Just cram them like sardines. And people are... So you open the doors, free will? What free will? You're being pushed inside. So all beings, from the highest to the lowest, all beings that are embodied are pushed out. And then when you had enough of time, okay, it's time for me to sleep, Brahma says. Okay, time, come in. I don't want to come in. You have no choice. Come in. But all my life, I always had choices. That was an illusion. Come in back. So you're pulled back inside. There's nothing there. So do you want this? Going out and coming in? No, no. Then have devotion to that reality. One-pointed devotion. Is that all? Yes, is that all? But how do I love that? Oh, now that is a kind of a ridiculous question. Because this love is natural to you. Is it? Yeah, we are great loving beings. We only know one thing. Love. Nothing else. But we misdirect that love to Tom, Dick and Harry. And as a result, that same love, when directed towards God, becomes the source of liberation. This is devotion. It's nothing. It's just your being is nothing but love. You know, Swami Vivekananda says about Sri Ramakrishna, he is L-O-V-E in capitals, his love. And people used to say of Swami Vivekananda, he is just love. But we look at him with all that, he's at a heroic posture and great intelligence and kind of dynamism. Oh, he's just love. And then you understand, Satu asmin parama prema rupa, that is the nature of inexpressible love. Bhakti. You can't express it. Can you express love? I don't think anybody can express love. And that's why we have so many books and movies, you know. They're still trying to. They are trying heart and soul, trying to express the inexpressible. Yeah, when it's directed outside, it becomes inexpressible. When it's directed inside, to its real source, to go back to its source, then you have the perception of the realization of that supreme being. So, Purusha sapara partha bhaktya labhyastvananyaya. So, ananyaya, no anything, nothing else. Bhaktya is bhakti. Purusha is that. What is that Purusha? Purusha is that reality, the supreme being. That which fills everything. Purnamiti, that fills everything. And that which also is there within your own heart. There. Puri Shayanad, there it is. Now it's in a kind of a sleep mode. It has to be awakened. That love has to be awakened. That reality has to be awakened. So this Purusha is that Saparas, that is supreme. O Partha, O son of Rita. You can attain it. It's attained through devotion. Just devotion. Ananya Prati. That is devotion which is bereft of all selfishness and all these kind of trading in love. You know, we are traders in love, you know, kind of, yeah. We want to trade. This is what I have. What do you have? I have love. Really? Good enough for me. No, I'll give you all my love. All that shop talk. That shop talk will not do. And that reality, yes, here, antasthani bhut, in which all beings dwell, everything, all those, cyclics, you can say, nature of this reality that we are speaking about, the smallest and the largest, they are all there within this reality, and which pervades everything. Like a pot, many pots, clay pots. What is there in that pot? Empty pots. Yeah, in India we have those, kind of, sometimes they are empty, sometimes full. Clay pots. Clay pots are kind of it was 1,000 years we used clay pots only. These philosophers always use the example of clay pots. You have a clay pot. What pervades the clay pot? Oh, there's space inside, and it is within space. Otherwise, the pot cannot emerge. The pot has to emerge from within space, as well as space is inside the pot also. So, what is reality? You break the pot, what remains? Space. So, within this is that great reality which pervades everything. Outside us also is that great reality. Remove the idea of you are the pot. Oh my God, I thought I was a pot. Yeah, you are a pothead, of course. Now it's all legal. Stop thinking of yourself as a clay pot. Think of yourself as the space. And now what happens is you can shift their perception from this to that through one-pointed devotion. Ananya Bhakti. Okay. So this is what is saying. Long quotations, long commentaries, long this. Let's keep it simple. That, as you say, in Him we live and move and have our being. St. Paul, in Him that's the idea. In God, in reality, we move and have a being. We live. We do everything. Why can't we just acknowledge that or realize that, yeah, once you start loving it, that will become revealed to your love. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.
There's one question.
No question. Yeah, we have one. Michael is here. Yes, Michael.
This is a little interesting. God is in all beings, but all beings are not in God.
Yeah.
Go on. All right.
Yeah, that is the great paradox. It's like this mighty wind that blows in space. The wind is in space. You cannot say that space is in the wind. It is a question of this particular verse is speaking about the receptacle, the container, and the contained. This is later then he will clarify that there is nothing else but only that reality. And all these things which emerge and come out and whatever massive time scales there are is just a kind of an illusion. Illusion when you compare it with the reality. So that is within everything and without everything. It's given there, you know why? Otherwise, now suppose that reality, the reality is here within me. Does it suffer the pains that my body and mind suffers? Is it subject to rebirth, etc., like I am? Is it subject to misery? So then that reality will be a non-reality for me. What's the point in accepting that reality? Because that reality is subject to all the modifications of the body and mind. All my sins and all my good karma and everything is there. So that's why it is trying to disassociate itself from all the beings that emerge are like that, contained within the container. They emerge, they bubble up, and they bubble down. They bubble up and they bubble down. So these beings, they have for the relative time a kind of a separate existence. Yeah, we all have kind of idea of, oh yeah, I'm the reality. No, you cannot be the reality. You are changing, you're constantly moving about all these things. So then what is the reality? Once you switch your ideas from your own self, mutable self, to that, then it makes sense. So that's why it is spoken of in the first sense, not that all beings are in God and God is not in all beings. Otherwise, God will be subject to all these kind of distortions. Okay. Oh yeah, now see how. Okay. Yes. George, does seeing avatars and sages in the dream state have any meaning? Oh yes. All spiritual dreams, Sri Ramakrishna says, are real. So take that as very good sign. Thank you, everybody saying thank you, and thank you all for being here. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat.